fixing what I call chili burritos. You will need, I get 2 packs of these. Need a can of tomato sauce. And you need also some water. You need a pack of floured tortillas. And then I like to have this on the side. Tostadas, salsa queso. I like to serve it on the side. Since I'm actually going somewhere with this dish, just some throwaway fall pans with the top. And I'll probably put my baking sheet up underneath it for stability. So I will have to wash these also right quick. And basically, if you fix homemade enchiladas or burritos at home, that's basically what this is. It just is with chili mix. To me, the taco meat is drier because you don't add as much liquid as you do when you're making chili. So I prefer that over the taco style. Um, because I add cheese on the inside of the mixture and cheese on the outside, cheese can dry out your meat. And so that's another reason why I prefer the chili mixture. Because like I said, the taco mixture, when you make taco meat at home, you don't add that much water to the mixture. My handy dandy salsa. To have to set my dirty spoon in while I'm cooking. I tend to wash off my cans, and I hope you all do also. I even, for the most part, I say 90% of the time, wash off my canned sodas and things like that because I do try to keep some sodas cold. And I just remember, I do that because I remember someone speaking about when you go to especially big stores like your Walmart and your Sam's, besides the warehouse that the items were in before they got to you, just the store in general, how they have rodents that run across the cans and things. So I tend to wash mine off. I got 2 bags of just the Velveeta. I know sometimes I'll use the Tillamook. I like the Monterey and Kobe, I believe that blend, and some ground chicken. You will see when it comes to dishes like this that would typically do ground beef, I typically do the ground chicken because I generally take half, and that's my filling for the burritos. I really was supposed to do 2 pounds of the ground chicken, but I just didn't want to overcook and waste But by the time the meat cooked down, sometimes you feel like it's just not enough. So I'm just washing my bowls that I will be using. Like I said, I separate half of my meat so that I separate half of my meat and add the cheese mixture to it, and that is my stuffing or innards of my burrito. And the rest, with majority of the cherry chili sauce, I pour that over the burritos, and that's where I spread the rest of my cheese at. And then I bake it in the oven. I will not do the final process here because um, I am taking this over to a little get together, and I prefer to do the final oven situation over there. And that was wrong. I did not mean to do that. But it's okay. I didn't mean to. It's okay. As you've seen me on previous cooking videos, I normally add a little oil to my pan because ground chicken and ground turkey has very low fat content. The last time I did one of these, I did not talk. And so I guess the talking has kind of thrown me off. I just added the chicken seasoning, chicken and gator. Doing a little Tony Chachere's onion powder and garlic. The same. Same old, same old. When I cook, besides if I'm baking, these are my 4 ingredients that are my staples. Sometimes I will use the smoked paprika. I will use um, cayenne pepper, but because this is not for me alone, I don't want to make nothing too spicy. So, so that is about enough seasoning because your chili mix is really a seasoning also, and besides being a seasoning, it has a lot of sodium. So, but I just can't comprehend not seasoning up my ground, any type of ground meat with before I cook it. So I have been raised on seasoning up my ground meat before I start cooking it, and that way the seasoning is incorporated in the meat. Even though sometimes you have a little drainage according to your percentage of fat, when I do ground chicken, ground turkey, I do not drain off, or I believe the word is render, that fat because it's so low. Even with me adding the oil I do to kind of coat the pan, Because as you can see, my meat is not sticking. And that's just from that oil that I used. And really, this is a fast, quick dish. The only time consuming part, well, I ain't gonna say only, the only two time consuming parts is when I let my chili cook down a little bit. The chili sauce, once I add the tomato sauce, and you need equal parts tomato sauce and water. Once I add that to the meat with the seasoning, the chili seasoning, I let it cook down a little bit so that the flavors can merge together. That I normally do anywhere the longest 10 minutes. And then from there, the second time consuming part will be just stuffing your burritos. That's it. Other than that, once you put them in your dish and you bake them, I normally bake them anywhere from 400 to 450 in temp, just until the cheese melts. So it's not a um it's a fast dish. And this is cooked. So now I think I'm just gonna need the one packet. I bought two because I'm so used to buying two packages of ground meat because I really like a very meaty um burrito. And I don't like it to be skimped on with the meat because it don't really, I'm gonna say I want to use the word stretch, and I still may use for flavoring. I still may use, I think I'm gonna open up the second pack, but I'm not gonna use the whole pack of it. I'm so used to using a second pack because sometimes by the time you add in the water, but sometimes I like to do a little bit over the 1-to-1 ratio. And sometimes by the time you do that, flavoring, because I don't add any more seasoning to this. And I just put this in a Ziploc bag and I put it in the ice box. Sometimes I remember that I have it, and sometimes I don't. Um, Let me turn this all the way down because I forgot I washed it, that and my can opener, but I forgot to open up the can of tomato sauce. And something else you'll see me do is things that go with things in a jar or a can. I generally add a little water to it if it's no more than to just get out the sauce that's sticking to the can. So I feel like it's good to keep a bottle of water. This water, no one drinks out of it, but I keep it on the side just for the purpose of this right here. Because that sink water, you just can't trust it. I had family members who said that the sink water actually made them sick. When I'm doing like boiling things, I will try to use, now sometimes like spaghetti, That is a lot of water. I'll just use the regular water. And I just got into using chicken broth with it. So I'm gonna stir this up and I'm gonna let it come to a boil. And then I will cut it down and let it simmer for, like I say, 5 to 10 minutes. Let me turn this up because I am pushing for time. Turn it up so it can come to some percolation and then it can be cut back down. Okay. So I'm gonna stir this up and I'm gonna let it come to a boil. So now you can start to see the bubbles percolating, starting to percolate rather, in the chili. So it won't be long. Yeah. Just making sure I had my slotted spoon. Before I drain or gather the meat out to separate it and add the cheese to it. Okay. So cut that down. Oh, severely cut it down. Once it gets to popping out like that, making a big mess for me to clean, put the top on there. And like I say 5 minutes it should need, just to kind of cook down, let the flavors come together. That's the one thing I hate about tomato sauce, is that percolate. The last time in my last video, I actually showed you all this mitt. This came from my second little person when they were in middle school. I think this was a Mother's Day gift where they did the hand paint and put it on the pads. And I tell you, to this day, when I ran across it, because I had it with other memory things or souvenirs from when they were in school and things like that. But when I ran across this, I just had to start using it. I've been using it for years because that little human is out of school now. So I've had this for years. And every time I look at it, this was one of the best thoughtful things that was a gift idea from the teachers possible. I mean, they have had aprons and things like that, but I get to use this and look at this every day that I cook, every time that I cook. And believe it or not, a lot of times I look at it and I just smile because I think back of that time when they were in elementary school and how time flies and how time goes by so fast. Because when they were in elementary school, I was like, oh my God, all this homework y'all coming home with. And now that they are out of school, it's like, oh my goodness, where did that time go to? So it is a catch 22. I have one left in school. We're still in the early stages. And so part of me is trying to savor these years, and that homework is causing me to be like, oh my God, when you gonna be out of school, Jesus? Okay, this is pretty much what it's gonna do right here. Nothing more, nothing less. And so, uh, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this handy dandy mixing bowl that I generally use for everything. And I'm just going to separate the meat now and leave some meat, but mostly the juice in the pot. And I remember how my kids, for their special days, they used to want me to do what we call Mexican food before there was the Taco Tuesdays. So it would be these burritos, some queso, and this same chili mixture is what I use to fix my nachos. Like I say, I'd rather a wet meat than a dry meat. And so I'm gonna leave that little bit of meat in there. And let that go over there. And now it's not much meat. I really should have did the 2 pounds, but it is what it is. But so it would be the burritos, queso dip, and I use Doritos with this chili mixture and the tostadas cheese for our nachos, and they would want that all in one meal. And so you add your cheese. Mix your cheese up. That will kind of thicken because you're adding so much cheese. And then the rest is just taking your tortillas and stuffing them. I don't add anything. If I had maybe like some wax paper or parchment paper, I could do that at the bottom. But that's basically all she wrote. So basically, it's just taking one at a time and stuffing it. Okay. stuffing and rolling them up. And then I just place them up in here, open wrap down for them to stay. So it's basically, this is a tablespoon, and it's basically taking about a tablespoonful because like I said, when you add the cheese, it kind of thickens it up and allows you to not have to use so much meat. Then when you roll and wrap them, the meat will squeeze to the ends. So it generally fills up the whole burrito. I prefer to do this side of the burrito versus this side of the burrito, the fluffier side. And I'm going to at least try to get enough to, if I don't fill up this, at least to fill up right here. And I probably only have enough for maybe one more. And I'm bringing this as a dish, but this is meant to be cut in half straight down so that it stretches. It's just more of, this event is more of bringing a dish as in little finger foods versus trying to make sure everybody has a whole belly full ready to go to sleep somewhere. Ugh, ugh. This could really be stretched to two because right now it's overfilled. So let me take some out. I was trying to just do just that one because I feel like it's either going to be overfilled or underfilled, and that will drive me crazy because it's not balanced. All right. And it is driving me crazy because why? It's not balanced. Now is just the time to take this last bit here and pour it over so that the cheese has something to hold on to. And it's not dry. Okay. And I just make sure, or try to make sure, this emptiness is driving me. This is incomplete. And then spread the rest of this cheese over it. Uh-uh. And I like mine cheesy, so I'm going to add some more from this second bag. Okay. Let me run my water in my sink so I can be multitasking or accomplishing at least more than one thing at a time. And that is done.